A historic moment has unfolded for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as President Dallin H. Oaks has been named the new leader of the worldwide faith. The announcement came during a live broadcast from Temple Square, marking a pivotal moment for the church following the death of President Russell M. Nelson, who led the church for 7 years until his passing at age 101. Alongside President Oaks, Henry B. Eyring, 92, and D. Todd Christofferson, 80+, were appointed as counselors in the First Presidency, while Jeffrey R. Holland, 84, was named President of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. President Oaks, at 93, accepted his calling with humility, committing his heart and soul to serve the Church and its members worldwide. This transition underscores the deep continuity within the LDS leadership and highlights decades of dedication, service, and spiritual guidance that have shaped the Church's mission and growth. President Oaks has long been a central figure in the Church, having previously served as the first counselor in the First Presidency alongside President Nelson since January 2018. As the senior-most apostle, Oaks was next in line to lead, and his experience spans decades of dedicated service. During the broadcast, he expressed profound gratitude for the calling, stating that the Lord speaks through the apostles and that he was committed to following that divine guidance. President Eyring, serving his 4th term in the First Presidency, spoke warmly about President Oaks, acknowledging the inspiration and reassurance he has provided. Meanwhile, President Christofferson, serving in the First Presidency for the first time, humbly accepted his role, emphasizing service over honor. President Holland also voiced strong support, describing the moment as unanimous and moving, affirming the confidence of the church leadership in President Oaks's ability to guide the faith. The announcement comes just over 2 weeks after the passing of President Russell M. Nelson on September 27, 2025, at the age of 101. Following his death, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles led the Church in an unprecedented period of transition, the longest gap between a prophet's passing and the reorganization of the First Presidency since the late 1800s. President Oaks praised his predecessor as a magnificent prophet of the Lord. Honoring his decades of service and spiritual guidance, he emphasized that while the Church does not have all the answers to the world's problems, its mission remains clear: to serve all of God's children with worthiness, commitment, and optimism. The announcement was broadcast on the Church's website and social media, reflecting the modern approach to connecting with members worldwide while maintaining the sacred nature of the leadership transition. President Oaks' life and career reflect decades of leadership, education, and dedication to service. Born in Provo on August 12, 1932, he is the father of 6 children and a grandfather to 29 grandchildren, with more than 60 great-grandchildren. A firm believer in education, Oaks graduated from BYU in 1954 and earned a law degree from the University of Chicago in 1957. He practiced and taught law in Chicago before returning to BYU as its president from 1971 to 1980, where he oversaw the founding of the J. Reuben Clark Law School. Later, he served as a justice of the Utah Supreme Court until 1984, when he was called to be an apostle. Throughout his career, Oaks has combined legal expertise with spiritual service, emphasizing the importance of religious freedom, moral guidance, and the development of faith-based leadership in both educational and governmental spheres. President Oaks' commitment to service extends far beyond the Church. He has held leadership roles in numerous educational, charitable, and business organizations, authored books and articles on religious and legal topics, and has been recognized for his dedication to religious liberty, receiving the Canterbury Medal from the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty in 2013. His tenure as an apostle included meetings with government leaders in the U.S. and abroad, representing the church and fostering relationships across political and cultural lines. Notable moments include hosting former President Gerald Ford and presenting family historical data to President Barack Obama alongside President Thomas S. Monson. These experiences highlight Oaks' ability to navigate both spiritual and civic responsibilities, reflecting a lifelong commitment to service that combines faith, leadership, and moral guidance in a complex and evolving world. President Henry B. Eyring, serving his fourth term in the first presidency, has also played a key role in guiding the church. At 92, his wisdom and experience provide continuity and stability alongside President Oaks. President Eyring spoke during the broadcast about the inspiration he has witnessed in Oaks and how he has felt reassured by his leadership. Meanwhile, President D. Todd Christofferson, 80, steps into the first presidency for the first time. Bringing his legal background and years of service as an apostle since 2008, Christofferson expressed humility and gratitude, emphasizing that his calling is one of service rather than honor. This combination of seasoned leadership and fresh perspectives strengthens the first presidency, ensuring that the worldwide church is guided with wisdom, devotion, and commitment to its members and mission. President Jeffrey R. Holland, now president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles at 84, reaffirmed his support for President Oaks, describing the leadership transition as unanimous and deeply moving. Holland emphasized the church's confidence in Oaks' ability to lead with integrity, faith, and spiritual guidance. The first presidency now reflects decades of experience, wisdom, and service, blending the long-standing dedication of Oaks and Eyring with the fresh perspective of Christofferson. As the new first presidency begins its work, church members worldwide look to this leadership to continue guiding the faith in times of change, honoring the legacy of President Nelson while addressing the spiritual and practical needs of millions of members across the globe. This moment represents both continuity and renewal for the church. This historic reorganization of the first presidency marks a new chapter for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. President Oaks, with decades of experience in law, education, and church service, now leads a worldwide faith guided by principles of service, faith, and moral integrity. Alongside him, Presidents Eyring and Christofferson bring wisdom, continuity, and fresh perspectives, while President Holland ensures steady leadership within the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. As members around the globe reflect on the legacy of President Nelson, they also look forward with hope and unity, trusting that the new first presidency will continue to inspire, teach, and serve. This moment reminds all of the enduring strength and guidance of faith, leadership, and dedication within the church.